Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be basically putting together all the clips of Khal from the first time he was broken until basically a year on. So the first clip is him putting tack on for the first time. If you don't know Khal, he is actually a homebred. He's our first foal we ever bred. He is by a stallion called Untitled, and his dam is my mare Fiona, who is by Clover Flush. So he's definitely bred to jump. Although, as you can see, our whole jumping journey is definitely not smooth, but we have definitely got there. And I'm really happy with how he's going now. So I have a whole video on how I break horses, so you can watch that instead of watching loads of clips of me lunging and everything like that. This was maybe one of my first times riding him in the arena. He was so quiet to break. He never booked, never did anything at all. In fact, he was actually very lazy, which was my biggest problem with him. He's actually looked quite small here as well, which I think is kind of funny, because he definitely has grown into himself a little bit better. Here's him. You can see I have a schooling whip, which is a nice long whip, to try and reinforce my leg aid, because he would just not listen to me at all. And you can see he gets quite caught up, and a problem we had for a while was him getting behind the vertical, so I would tap him forward whenever he did that. I actually don't have much contact on my reins. He does tend to tuck his head in. You can actually see there's like slack in my reins there, but that was just something we worked on for a little while. So I would use my schooling whip, as I was saying, just get him going forward. You can see here there's just no energy. He's just very slow, which, you know, isn't the worst thing. It would be not very nice to have a very hot horse who was constantly galloping off and that, but it's definitely something we had to work on. Here's him a little bit further on. You can see he's going forward a little bit better. We also have a little change of bit. This is a bit with cheek pieces to basically it helps with steering, because it puts pressure. It almost pushes them over instead of just, you know, pulling their mouth around. It kind of presses their face so that it's pushing them in the right direction. So after he did that bit of trotting, he went on a break, and then he came back that Christmas. And this was my first canter on him. I was just asking him to go forward, and he offered up the canter, so I said great. And then because he had offered it, I asked him to do it and got him on the right lead, and he had a good canter. Again, there was no booking or any funny business at all. He is like the quietest horse ever. Yeah, he's a bit of a legend. And you can see there's a little bit more energy in the trot too. I forgot to say, but he is 3 in these videos. I back them when they're 3, and then they go off on a break after they've just had a walk and a trot in the arena, and they come back in when they're the year they're 4. See, he's just obviously a little bit inconsistent in the bit, but it's just baby moments. You can't expect him to be perfect, but you start to see a bit of his lovely trot now. He is quite a flashy trot when he gets going, and it's very floaty, and it feels so nice. He feels a lot bigger than he looks. So this was his first time going over a pole. As you can see, he was not keen. He was very afraid, and this is a common theme throughout this video. He always thinks backwards when it comes to things he's not sure about, and then it takes a bit of encouragement, but we always end the day on a positive. So as you can see, we go from not being able to walk over it to trotting fairly confidently. And it just takes a little bit of time, but he does get it, and he gets it quite quickly. So then we have a canter over the pole, and this is the first time I actually jump him, and it was very underwhelming. He just kind of pops over it very simply, not like those big fancy show jumping 4-year-olds that you see in videos, but it's okay, we'll take what we can get. Seeing there, he has a little spook, so I just kind of slip my rein so I don't catch him in the mouth, and then we just canter around to it again, and so it's pretty basic, but it was good. So here I'm just doing a bit more cantering. You can see our aids to canter is a lot sharper. He goes when I ask him to. And I also start doing a lot more pull work. I do lots of trotting pulls, everything like that, because obviously he was very spooky towards the pull. So I want him to know that pulls are his friend, because I would like him to be a show jumper. And it's not ideal if a show jumper is afraid of pulls. So here you can see our little canter transitions are a little bit better. He always goes on the right lead now, and he's actually quite a balanced horse for a young horse, probably because he's quite small. Here he's doing his trotting pulls, finding his feet. I have parallel pulls either side so he stays straight, because even at such an early stage and such a basic level like 3 trotting pulls, it's still important to put in place all the things that you want when you start jumping. So even if it is just a pull, I still want him to go straight. And if you put these things in place very early on, it'll help you in the long term, because straightness is very important. So we started doing trotting pulls on the lunge because again, it was so hard to lunge him over pulls. He was very afraid of them, but here he is when he started getting used to them, although he still really didn't want to touch them. But this also helped build up some strength. So I just started doing little courses of pulls and little tiny cavalettis, just so it became a normal thing that he would go over pulls. I didn't want to jump him at this stage because he was only young, but doing, 20 centimeter pulls is definitely not going to do any harm. So I just wanted him to get the idea of it, work on straightness, a few distances, just to get his confidence. You see he enjoyed that one a little bit, wanted to have a little book. And also working on changing the rein over pulls, getting his balance, coming back to trot, just all the little things that go into jumping. You can work on so many of them just by doing small pulls. Like if you really think about being straight, having adjustability, you can really work a lot on jumping by, even though you're not actually jumping. So here was a little jump we did. You can see how much more confident he is. And he had a little book there, which I had to pull him up so he didn't run into the trotting pulls. But I gave him a good pat afterwards so he didn't think I was mad at him. And there he was much more sensible. And here you can see that our trot is much more forward. He doesn't come behind the vertical too much now. He's a bit more out in his nose. Still always going over pulls as much as possible, just getting him really desensitized to them. And you can see his big trot there. So this is February. At this time, I started riding him less often. So I ride him every second or third day. And this was because if I had a hot horse, I would want to ride them more. But because he was so naturally lazy, the less I rode him, the more energy he had every time I rode him. And I was able to get more out of the session. I wasn't, nagging him all the time. This is also when I started using spurs, because I felt like it just gave me a better response than the whip. And I didn't have a whip, flapping around when I was trying to jump or go over pulls. And I didn't have to keep switching over the whip each time. And I was also able to start teaching him to move away from my leg. It's just a very different aid than a whip. And here is me jumping him now. There I was very, very happy because that was his first time jumping that jump. And he didn't spook at it. But then we got back to normal Khal, which was, oh God, I don't want to jump that. But instead ended up jumping over a pole. So he didn't really actually get out of anything. But then if you just go back and trot him to it, he was very good. He just finds when you come at things faster than he can think, he finds it a bit overwhelming, and because he's only 4, he can't think very fast. So basically, this happened a lot. When we jumped something first, he would spook and run out, and then every session we would work on it, and then by the end he would jump it well. So that obviously we didn't jump very often. These clips are a week or 2 apart, but here you can see again spooks at it. So we try again, and jump it, and then keep working on it until he jumps it really nice and confidently. And like this time, this is the last time I jumped it this day, and you can see much more confident and nice and careful. So yeah, it was basically repetition all the time. This was his first little course, very, very tiny fences, but good for getting him, thinking about balance, coming to jumps off different turns, some distances. Like, even this is a big improvement. I also started putting little fillers in, like you can see this one here, which he definitely found very spooky, but then we would jump it a few times and he would be much, much better. Again, it was all just patience and showing him over and over again that, it's not a big deal. And as long as you end on a good note, they realize that, oh, wait, this isn't too bad. I can do this. So you just always want to give them a good experience. So there's me jumping a little bit of a bigger fence, which is a very good boy. Oh, so here I realised that I had the quietest 4-year-old in the world, so I thought, we'll take off his bridle, why not? And here I was trying to steer him away from the fence, but he locked on and then gave like the biggest jump over that tiny fence. So you can see that he's definitely getting over his fear of jumping anyway, seeing as I was trying to steer him away from that jump. He wasn't too good at the bridleless, wasn't super responsive to the neck rope, but we managed to do a little bit. So here he is in March. In March, I played a little bit with taking off his noseband, and I felt like he rode better with it off. I also have a breastplate in this video because the saddle was starting to slip back a little bit. That jump there was my first time jumping over that, those fillers underneath, and he jumped it immediately, like straight away, and I was so happy with that. Like, we didn't have any spooking or anything. And here I tried a different kind of filler, these white ones. You can see he was very not sure, but instead of being not sure backwards, he's starting to be not sure but still going forwards, which is nice. He's just starting to trust that I'm not going to point him at something I think he's going to hurt himself on. This is my first and only fall so far off Khal. It's the most ridiculous fall. Basically, my dad was standing in front of the jump, and when he landed, Khal saw my dad and was like, oh shit. But as you can see, it didn't knock his confidence too much, and he went and jumped it again. Anyway, but yeah, touch wood, I haven't fallen off him since, so not too bad. Here is his first doubles. You can see he's pretty sticky. And then we come to this jump, and I'm not sure why he jumps it so big, but he does, and I completely lose my balance and pull the mouth off him, which I'm really, really angry about, but there's honestly nothing I can do. I was not expecting that jump at all. I'd like to see the majority of people try and sit that when it's so unexpected. But again, as I was saying, the first round, sticky, second round, a lot more confident, and that's how every training session basically went on him. At first it would be a little bit, not sure, and then we would work on it, and then he'd always end the session nice and confident and happy, and that was it. So this was his first time ever going away from home. Again, I'm just going to sound like a broken record, but he started off very spooky. We couldn't even get him into the arena. So the reason he's sweaty also was because it was his first time travelling, and he got a little bit nervous, and he had a big winter coat on him. So that's why he's a bit sweaty. It's not because I was riding him, I'd literally just gotten up. So here again, I could barely get him over the poles. But he's just so funny the way he improves. Like, young horses are so satisfying like that. Like, at the start of this round, like the start of this day, I couldn't get him into the arena, and then by the end we jump around a few like 90 meter fences. So it was really cool. Like, young horses are just so exciting. You can really make a lot of progress very quickly. So here again, jumps it. He didn't stop at all this day. It's just really showing how he's improving in confidence and trusting me a little bit more. So I just take it nice and slow, trot to a few fences, but he seems very happy. So I bring him to these rainbow fillers and jumps it first time. Very, very proud of him. He really is a good boy. Once he realises he can do something, he knows he can do it. So it's great. Here he jumps very big over, but I was very happy that he stayed and jumped the second part, which was nice. Here I jumped this oxer, and this was probably one of my biggest jumps to date. It was probably like 90 centimeters. So yeah, really, really exciting. I was so happy with him this day. And here's just one last jump that we did. So we just took our time, never in a rush with young horses. So then he went on a break when I was at college, and he came back in when I was on my summer holidays. I think he looks really different in this video. I think it's a summer coat. He looks like he grew a bit over the spring. So it's just me bringing him into work. Here's me riding him in the summer. God, I wish it was summer again. You can see he's a lot more forward still. He's starting to move a bit. I'm not having to kick him all the time, kick him forward. But yeah, he's very good. And I give him a little jump. He was pretty good, yeah. This is obviously a few weeks after coming back into work. Jumped him. We're starting to jump him a little bit bigger now. He's staying confident, and he's very keen when he jumps. He's a lot keener when he's jumping than doing flat work, that's for sure. See there, he's taking a few flyers. And this is me jumping some fillers again, but he remembers from the Christmas, and he knows, oh, I can do them. This is his first time jumping that gate, which is a very spooky fence, and he didn't mind it at all. So I trot the first time just to give him some more time to think about it and look at it, and then canter the second time. So this was his first show, and it was a disaster, and I never posted this video before. But that first fence, you can see, wasn't very nice. It just shows that you can be going great at home, but shows are just a different kettle of fish, especially with young horses. So we come around, and we've never had trouble with doubles before, but unfortunately he saw this double, he jumped in very, very big and scared himself and wasn't about to jump that second part. So we went around again, but he just lost his confidence. So when he stopped that time, I called it a day. I said, no way, not happening. And this was a 2-day show, so I had a class the next day as well. So that evening we were at the show, we were stabled there, so we went and we schooled doubles in the warm-up arena. We did them loads and loads of times. You can see he got all his confidence back. He remembered what he was doing. I obviously just hadn't jumped a double for a little while at home, that he had forgotten kind of about them. But you can see he's a lot more confident there, and this is the next day. And it is, yeah, he's a lot more confident. Obviously he's very, very spooky. Here he spooks with the wheelbarrow after the jump, but he's very good and jumps it anyway, although I do nearly fall off. And there's a few more jumps before the double. We actually jumped 2 rounds this second day, and he was clearing both of them. We jumped 80 centimeters twice. And it just shows what, going back to basics and just working on something and just re-establishing something that they do already know. They just do forget things. So now I'm coming around to the double, and I remember being like, oh no, please remember what we did yesterday. And it's actually just crazy, the difference. Like, look how confident he is going into this. He nearly did 1 stride. He was so confident going into it. So it's just young horses, you just really have to go back to basics, and you can give them confidence back. They're so impressionable when they're young. But that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's bad because if you give them a few bad experiences, they'll remember it. But if you're quick to give them their confidence back and show them that they can do it, then they'll be like, yeah, you're right, we can do this. We've done it a million times before. So I'm coming around to the second double, but I was pretty confident at this stage that he would jump it. And, oh wait, maybe I didn't. Never mind, I lied. That wasn't a double. The next fence is a double, and it's like the second last fence. So yeah, it was a great learning experience for both of us. And it was just so much to look at, so many fillers, so many horses. Khal does tend to be quite herd-bound, so it can be hard. He gets very distracted by other horses. That was our clear round. So then we went home, and I schooled him over triples, just for good measure. And you can see how confident he is. Once he knows what he's doing, he's very happy to do it. So this is a second show. That was a little jump in the warm-up. and this was his first 90, and he had one baby fence down. It was still a little bit wobbly, you know, he is only a baby. He's still looking at everything, but you can see how confident he is for fillers. He's never seen any of these jumps before, and he was just, yep, no problemo. He was a great boy. Except when I ride him like an idiot and nearly get left behind. But that's just young horses for you. This fence, I think, is the one that he just tips. It's just on a corner with a bit of a funny wing, so I think he got a bit distracted. Then he pulled it together and jumped the rest of the round clear, jumped all his doubles. Doubles weren't an issue after that previous show. We never actually had an issue ever again with them. It's just nipping something in the bud before it becomes a problem. And he's actually never stopped, I don't think, at anything since. I can't remember him stopping. He's completely confident with jumping now. He never has any issues at all. Here he is coming to another double. And as you can see, he doesn't even think about it. So in August we went to Mill Street, which was a 5-day show, and we jumped 3 classes on him. It wasn't the best show for results. We had like 1 fence down in every class. But it was still a really, really good experience, stabling away for that long a time. Such a big atmosphere. You can see he's having good fun and flying around these jumps, but it's just all exposing him to new things. You can see all the horses walking around outside the arena and everything like that. It's just, you can't get this atmosphere at home. You can't really school this. You can only go to shows and then work on them there. And this was actually funny this round, because we were coming around here and there's a tractor raking the other arena, and he doesn't like tractors. As you can see, the poor thing. But he was an absolute saint and jumps this off like 2 strides after spooking and clears it and jumps the next fence. He is just, yeah, he's a great boy. So this is the same venue as his first show, and it's just interesting to see the difference in rounds. So he just looks like a different horse. He's so much more mature. The rhythm is a lot better. He's taking things out of stride. He's being really careful but still forward. We have absolutely no issues with doubles. It's just basically like a different horse. We jumped our first meter in this show. This is the 90 centimeter and the meter is the next class. And yep, I think he had 1 down in this round. No, he was clear in this round and he had 1 down in the meter. And that's all I did with him. Then he went on a break, and he's still on a break because he's only 4 and I'm in college and I'm in no rush to, get him up heights or anything like that. So I didn't mind that. Obviously he's not on par with the majority of 4-year-olds, but that's fine. I'm in no rush with him at all. I'm just so happy with how he's improved. You can just see the difference in confidence between like his first show and this show. It's completely different, and it's only about 4 shows apart. Young horses really do improve so quickly. It's really, really satisfying, and I absolutely love working with them. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Here is him jumping the double in the meter, just to show that he is so confident now. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I know found it kind of satisfying, because I found it really, really lovely to watch. I'd completely forgotten about how he was at the start when I first started riding him, and it's just really reassuring to see how much progress we made. As usual, I'm not looking for advice or training tips because I have trainers, and yeah, so you can enjoy some photos now, like throughout the years of Khal, from his very first scan when we found out that Fiona was pregnant to some more recent photos. It's been just such a rewarding process, especially him being our first homebred horse. Definitely had its ups and downs. I definitely felt sometimes like I was useless, like he was useless, like giving up. But it's always when you look back on old videos that you realise how far you've actually come. And I'm so excited to keep working with him. So yeah, And yeah, please subscribe and leave a comment. And I'll see you next time. Bye guys.